So Mads just talk about the energy trilemma. It was eye-opener for most countries and also in the Nordic countries that we 2 years ago started seeing this very high electricity prices, and suddenly the energy security came on the agenda again. It also meant, as we have heard on the opening speech and Mads' speeches, that the energy trilemma was there to good again, meaning that we have to secure our energy supply while at the same time also ensuring access to energy that is sustainable and affordable for the citizens. So this is the trilemma that we face, and we also face it in the Nordic countries. Now, the energy sector under the Nordic Council of Ministers, they say, okay, what is it about all these energy prices that is going up, the crisis there? We have to analyze what is going on and what can we do about it? What can we do together about it? So they ordered analysis, and this is the analysis that I will talk a little bit about today. So this is more of, I want to tell you about this report, the analysis we have made, to say what we came from, and hopefully this will be used to the discussions. Just to give you an idea of how we built the analysis. Together with some consultants, we made a five steps analysis. First, creating an overview of the energy market, saying what is going on with the prices, why is this doing this. Then, secondly, finding out what were the drivers, why did we suddenly saw these high prices, and then what are then the risks? What are the effects and the probabilities of something going wrong? Where is the weaknesses in the system? And with this, we can also say, so how do we actually mitigate these weaknesses, and what is being done already by political intervention, and what have to be done? And if you do like this, then in the fifth step, you can also come up with some recommendation. And from our side, it's always good to have recommendation that is bestly made nationally. Some are bestly made together in a Nordic perspective, and some are bestly made in an international European perspective. And of course, we are mostly interested in what can we do together that is building on the strength of doing something nationally and doing something on a European level as well. So if we look at the drivers, the prices we saw was what has been called a perfect storm, was caused by many things. Of course, was caused by low water values, low water amounts in some reservoirs. It was caused by gas interruption due to the conflict with Russia and Ukraine and so on. But it also has some other things there. So when we ask out all the stakeholders and things, they say it also has to do with the structure of the electricity market that actually was built to create this kind of to capture this kind of shocks. And it also meant that during the last couple of decades, we have decommissioned a lot of the big controllable electricity capacity. Putting in more viable renewable energy in it meant that the system was not able to actually to react that fast. Then there was also a problem in balancing demand and supply, meaning that we saw some price peak which was really high. We saw lack of transmission capacity both within countries but also between the Nordic countries. We saw that the demand was not flexible enough. It didn't react to the high prices in the beginning. And we, of course, had a high increase on a very high energy import that meant we were valuable to the international problem with gas, etc. And then that the amount of supply of gas was reduced, also affected us, and then that we have a lot of weather-dependent energy production in the Nordic energy supply. So this was the kind of the drivers. When we look at how prepared the different countries were, we found that a lot of the countries were affected in different ways, and it really caused because we are different in the Nordic countries. You see here, I won't go through the bullets, but just saying that some countries with the dark one was very affected by, for example, the electricity market structure. You can see that didn't affect Iceland, but it did affect Denmark or Finland and Sweden, etc., etc. And it just means that the energy crisis affected us all, but it affected us differently. So this was also important to take into account. When you look about what did the national governments do to react to the energy crisis, we can also see there was a lot of measures implemented, but we implemented them differently in the different countries. Again, Iceland, as a example, they were not that affected by the crisis, so they didn't implement that much at that time. But you see some of the other countries implement a lot of things. They reduced the energy tariffs for consumers. They gave subsidies, etc., etc. So also meaning that people, the governments reacted differently. I'm jumping on to say, okay, we now found out what happened with the prices, how was to react, what can we do to look forward to say, how do we make the most resilient system? And in order to do that, we have to find out what kind of effects can different things have, and what are the probability to do that, to see what are the risks. And then we identify, you see up in the hierarchy, with the one with the highest risk. When we had this kind of risk, we also say, okay, what's being taken care of now? What is actually, what is in the progress of being taken care of? What are they allowed and what is not in it? So we made a gap analysis saying how is it handled. I'll come back to some of the risk, but you can see some risk is that it takes too long to deploy new capacity, etc. So the recommendations, because I only have short time, so I'll do it a little bit fast, but I hope you can follow. Now I put them down to national recommendation and to Nordic recommendation, just to give you. You see, one of the risks in the higher end of there was this, that the deployment is going on too slow, and mostly of this is due to long permitting processes. I mean, we all want a high number of renewable energy percentages in our energy supply within 2030, but we also know it takes a long time before you make a political decision of new wind turbine farms or whatever, before it's actually deployed. So the long processes, if we can shorten that down, it would increase the security of supply. It would make more balance in the energy trilemma, but also giving more sustainability. How it will affect the energy prices for the consumers, that's hard to say. So if you look at the prices here, we have two positive arrows and one which is hard to say if it goes up and down. Another thing is that we can see that the green transition also means that we need a lot of hands. We need a lot of human capacity to actually work in the green energy sector. So far, it looks like we have a labor shortage for more than that. And it can also delay the green transition. It can delay that we actually will have the capacity that we want. So if we can try to make some measures that is actually speeding up the process of getting more hands, getting more competences in our countries, we could increase the security of supply, increase the sustainability. The prices, I don't know again. But again, we could make more balance in the energy trilemma for that one. We can also see that, as we heard from the previous speaker, we want the renewable energy, but what if when we go out and say we want to deploy it, then there's some kind of resistance in the local communities or the public in general. So if we can get the citizens on board, we can also make sure that the process is going a little bit faster and a little bit more involved. And that would increase the balance in the trilemma as well. This is national. If we look at the Nordic, what can we do together as a Nordic family? We can, because we are very much connected in the system, try to say, okay, we have consumers that's not reacting that much. But a Danish consumer can actually, if he is reacting, can help the balance in Sweden, etc., because we are connected. So if we can do this together, if we can agree to be more flexible across countries, then we can also increase the security of supply, the sustainability, and also the affordability for the Nordic consumers. Of course, also, if we increase the capacity, the infrastructure between the country, we also make it easier to help each other. So this is also one. And of course, Nordic cooperation in total, the more we work together, the more we do it together, the bigger area, the more tools we have to play with, so it also increases. And then we can also learn from each other what is working, how can we actually activate different measures. I think my last one, this one. Also, we have different technology mix in the different countries. and this is a benefit. I mean, we have had for many years in the continental Nordic that hydropower in Norway is helping when the wind is not blowing in Denmark, but when the wind is blowing, we are filling up the water reservoirs in Norway, etc. So we're actually helping each other to make sure that we have the capacity needed in all the time. So the more the diversified sources of energy supply, the better it is to get a balance. We can also keep on adapting our energy markets to be more resilient to this kind of external shocks. And then again, as was Karen also mentioned in her introductory talk, it's not an easy task to get people involved, to engage citizens, but we can learn from each other. We can exchange experiences. There are good practices out there. We just have to be good in the Nordic to share as a family. So this was a recommendation. Thank you very much.